Now I'm going to write the last method of the socketer.java class, and that method would actually exits out from everything like closing of the socket connection, and then we're going to finish out the socket, and as well as the listening to the port, everything which is actually embedded with the sockets and its communication, and which is actually referencing and referring to these all kind of stuff. It will be actually completely exit out of it, and we're going to be actually shutting down, like as we have already shut down a few things like in here. So we're going to be performing the same kind of step like shutting down the client socket and plus the socket. So let's get started. I'm just gonna create a method of public void exit, and then I'm gonna use here. Okay, now I'm gonna use the concept of iterator. As we know that we are actually using the hash map in here for the initial address and plus socket. So in order to get along with the values and processing all the values of the hash map, we're going to have to use the iterator. Without iterator, we can't actually process the elements of that hash map. So what is iterator? Iterator takes the place of enumeration in Java collection framework. Iterator is different from enumeration in two ways. The first way is actually iterator allow the caller to remove elements from underlying collection during the iteration with well-defined semantics. And the second way is method names has been improved. So actually this is the two ways which is actually different, which make iterator distinguished from the enumeration. So I'm going to create a for loop. I'm going to loop through each element of the hash map. So for that purpose, iterator. And I'm going to loop through the socket elements because we are actually closing down the socket, so we're going to loop through it. I'm going to use socket, and then I'm going to use iterator is equal to socket dot, and here it would actually give me the options of like you are gonna iterate through which. So I'm gonna iterate through the socket values, so it's gonna be values dot iterator. And then the next thing what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to use the iterator has next. So what does the iteration has next method do? It actually returns true if the iteration has more elements. Actually in the real world scenario, it returns true if next method would return an element rather than throwing an exception. So I'm going to use like iteration iterator dot has next. That's it. And I'm just gonna loop it now, and then I'm gonna create a reference to socket is equal to iterator.next. Now what is iterator.next I've used for? The reason I've used the iterator.next is actually it returns the next element. For example, if we loop through one element, then the next element would be iterated by this method. So I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to provide a try-catch blocks, because if we are dealing with sockets or input-output mechanism, we're going to have to use a try-catch block. I've explained this concept in the previous videos also. And I'm going to close everything of the socket. So I'm going to use like socket dot shutdown input and socket dot shutdown output. That's it. And then socket dot close. And now actually I've shut down the input plus output and then close the socket. So now we are able actually to exit out of everything smoothly